Hi, friends. Welcome back to Sister Wives Secrets. I'm Helena, and if you've been following this emotional roller coaster with me, then you know things have gone from complicated to downright heartbreaking. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and drop your thoughts in the comments because we are diving deep today, and I want to hear from you. Let me ask you this. What happens when loyalty stops being about love and starts becoming a weapon? What do you do when the very people who raised you ask you to stay silent? To give up your truth, all in the name of family unity. And what happens when daughters, young women who once adored their father, finally say no? In one of the most shocking moments we've ever seen on Sister Wives, Kody's own daughters, Aurora and Brianna, stood their ground and refused to give in to what felt like a desperate power grab. The confrontation wasn't just emotional, it was revealing. There was a storm behind those tears, a truth that had been bubbling for years, and when it exploded, it left everyone shaken. Today, we're unpacking betrayals that were swept under the rug, family roles that have quietly shifted, and the moment the mask finally slipped. So grab your tea, because this one cuts deep. I don't know about you, but I was shaking watching that scene unfold. When Kody sat down with Aurora and Brianna, asking them to sign those documents, those legal papers that would shift the inheritance and cement his authority, it didn't feel like a father having an honest conversation with his daughters. It felt like a pressure campaign, a calculated emotional ambush cloaked in family loyalty. And honestly, it was one of the most uncomfortable moments we've ever seen on Sister Wives. Kody didn't just ask for signatures, he demanded obedience. He leaned into that old, familiar rhetoric. You owe me this. Don't betray your family. Be loyal. But loyalty to what exactly? To a man who's been unraveling at the seams since Christine left? To a system that's protected his ego more than it's nurtured his children? And here's where it gets powerful. Aurora and Brianna didn't just sit there and nod. They pushed back. Respectfully, emotionally, but firmly. You could see it in their faces. This was years of emotional labor, years of watching the walls crack around them, all boiling to the surface. When Aurora spoke up, her voice trembling but unwavering, it was like watching someone finally break free from a script they never agreed to. And Brianna, right beside her, holding back tears but standing tall, that took real courage. These girls didn't sign. They didn't give in. They drew a line. And that line? That was the moment everything changed. It wasn't just about money or paperwork. It was about reclaiming their voices, refusing to be pawns in a game they didn't start. And I just have to say, as someone who's watched them grow up on screen, I felt so proud, so deeply moved, because that's not easy, especially when your dad is sitting across from you using every guilt card in the book. And let's be honest, Kody knows exactly what he's doing. He's not new to manipulation, he's just getting more desperate. He's trying to hold on to power as it slips through his fingers, and he's using his daughters as anchors. That's not parenting, that's emotional blackmail. What would you have done in that situation? Would you have signed those papers just to keep the peace? Or would you have stood your ground, even if it meant breaking your father's heart? Let me know in the comments because this moment right here, this is where the cracks became irreversible. And then there was Robin, sitting there, watching it all unfold, watching her daughters be put on the spot, be cornered emotionally, be asked to choose sides. And what did she do? Nothing. Not a word, not a protest, not a single flicker of defense for Aurora and Brianna. Just that same tight-lipped expression we've seen so many times before. Her silence? It was deafening. I kept waiting for her to say something, to step in, to look Kody in the eye and say, hey, this isn't okay. They're not ready. Let's give them time. But she didn't. She just sat there. Torn maybe, but passive. And I can't stop thinking, is Robin now stuck in the same emotional cage Meri was once in? Remember how Meri would sit silently at family discussions, nodding along even when her heart was clearly breaking? How she thought going along with Kody was safer than standing up to him. Robin, for all her talk about family unity and emotional health, has become the queen of silent loyalty. And that's what makes it even more tragic. Because silence in moments like this isn't neutral, it's complicity. When your daughters are visibly distressed, when they're bravely resisting pressure from a father who's clearly crossing a line, and you say nothing, that's not protection, that's enabling. We've seen this from Robin before, haven't we? The quiet nods, the tight lipped looks, the way she always just backs Kody, even when it goes against logic or fairness. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's love, maybe it's both. But love without boundaries isn't healthy, and fear disguised as loyalty can become a prison. And I have to ask, is being silent the same as being safe? Or is silence just a slower kind of betrayal? One that chips away at trust, bit by bit, moment by moment? Because here's the thing, by doing nothing, Robin sent a loud message that Kody's authority matters more than her daughter's peace of mind. That going along is better than speaking up. And in a family already drowning in control and manipulation, that silence, it felt like the final nail in the coffin. There's something about packing that hits different when it's not just about moving things, but about moving on. That scene with Aurora and Brianna, quietly folding clothes, zipping up suitcases, sorting through years of belongings, it wasn't just a room getting cleaned out, it was childhood getting tucked away, innocence being archived. It was a soft, painful goodbye to a version of themselves that no longer fits. And I don't know about you, but I was not okay watching that. The way they picked up little trinkets, bracelets, half burned candles, old notes, maybe even the scent of lavender still clinging to the pillowcases, it was so tender. But behind their quiet movements, you could feel the weight of it all. These weren't just daughters organizing their space, these were young women closing a chapter, maybe the most sacred one. Somewhere in those boxes were snapshots of a life that used to feel whole. Pictures of Solomon and Ariella playing dress up. Maybe handwritten notes from family night, back when popcorn bowls overflowed and Kody still sat in the middle of it all, laughing. Maybe those shelves once held scripture books Robin gave them, or journals where they tried to sort through what being in a plural family even meant. Gone. Or rather, leaving. Not in anger, but in clarity. That's what made it so powerful. This was the moment where Aurora and Brianna stopped being the girls. Everyone tiptoed around and became women with agency. Their decision not to cave under Kody's emotional tactics earlier, that was the spark. But this moment, the packing, this was the flame. It was a soft rebellion, but a loud message. We will not live under your shadow anymore. We will not let guilt wear the crown in this house. They didn't scream, they didn't slam doors, but wow, did they speak volumes. And as their suitcases clicked shut, I thought back to those early Sister Wives seasons, when the Brown kids were giggling in matching pajamas, when the idea of forever family was still intact. So much has changed, but maybe, just maybe, this is the kind of change that breaks generational cycles, because they're not just leaving a room, they're walking into their own power. To really understand the chaos we're witnessing now, we have to rewind to where the spiral began. Kody didn't just wake up one day with desperation in his eyes and betrayal on his tongue. No, this unraveling has been a slow motion collapse, and it started the moment Christine said, "I'm done." Remember that episode? She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She just quietly packed her things with a kind of peace that felt louder than any fight ever could. That was the first real crack in the image of Kody as the untouchable patriarch, the spiritual leader of a big, bustling plural family. When Christine left, she didn't just leave Kody. She walked away from the myth he'd built around himself. And that myth, it was already crumbling. Then came Janelle. Steady, loyal Janelle, always the pragmatic one, always the one who kept the peace. But when she finally snapped back, when she said, "You don't get to gaslight me anymore," wow. Kody wasn't just losing wives, he was losing control. And control for him wasn't just about order, it was identity. And let's not forget Meri. Oh, Meri, the emotional hostage for years. Remember the catfishing scandal? How Kody used that to humiliate her instead of heal with her? He emotionally abandoned her long before she left the family. She was already invisible, still clinging to loyalty while he served cold distance and hollow apologies. And now, the man we see pacing around with wild eyes and shaking hands isn't General Kody from season 1, the one with the long curls and big smiles, proudly explaining the beauty of plural marriage. No, now we're looking at Whiskey Kody, as fans have come to call him. The Kody who speaks in fragmented logic and broken ideals. The Kody who throws around words like sacrifice and loyalty, like they're currency people owe him. But here's what I keep noticing the contradictions. He talks about family loyalty, but only when that loyalty serves him. He tells his children they should be grateful, but gratitude for what? The confusion? The manipulation? The silence when they needed clarity? Kody built a house of mirrors and called it love. But now the reflections are shattering. And all that's left is a man grasping at the shards of a kingdom he lost, not because others betrayed him, but because he never really ruled it with love. So, what do you think, friends? When did you first notice the unraveling? Let me know. And now, let's shift the energy. Because if Kody's story is one of unraveling, Christine's is one of rising. Seriously, if you've been watching her journey the past couple of years, you know this isn't just a woman who left a bad situation. This is a woman who reclaimed her entire life. And I get emotional just thinking about it because how many of us have stayed too long in places that slowly dimmed our light? Christine didn't just leave Kody. She walked away from a system built on silence and sacrifice. And look at her now. From launching her health journey on social media to sharing joyful, unfiltered moments with her fans, Christine has become a symbol of freedom and rebirth. She found love again with David, a man who shows up for her publicly, emotionally, and with so much respect. You can feel it in the way she smiles now. It's not for the cameras, it's for herself. This is what reclaiming your life looks like. This is what choosing yourself sounds like. And while Christine's out here living in full color, building a brand, enjoying her kids, hosting Sister Wives themed cook alongs, and planning weddings, Robin is still frozen in that same brown toned living room, reciting loyalty lines from a script that no longer fits the show. The contrast is heartbreaking because I don't think Robin is evil. I think she's trapped. Trapped in a narrative she bought into so deeply that she doesn't know how to walk away, even when the foundation is cracking beneath her feet. You ever notice that haunted look in her eyes lately? That isn't peace. That's someone trying to make denial look like devotion. Christine's journey reminds us that you don't have to be the perfect wife, or the quiet daughter, or the forgiving one, just to belong. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be seen. So here's the real question. What's the cost of staying loyal to a narrative that no longer serves you? Because loyalty is beautiful until it becomes the very thing that's breaking you. And I want to hear from you. Do you see Christine as the hero of this story? Or just someone who finally stopped playing a losing game? Let's talk about it in the comments. This one hit me hard, you guys, like really hard. Because underneath all the TLC drama and family tension, what we're witnessing isn't just a reality show crumbling. It's a bigger battle between control and autonomy, between illusion and truth. What happens when the script you followed your whole life suddenly doesn't make sense anymore? When the people who were supposed to protect you are the ones pushing you to silence your voice? Watching Aurora and Brianna draw the line, that wasn't just emotional, it was revolutionary. And it reminded me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say no. No to guilt. No to pressure. No to rewriting your truth just to keep someone else comfortable. And then seeing Kody, so desperate to hang on to that crumbling empire of loyalty, using old tactics that don't work anymore, it was heartbreaking. Because at one point, he was the dad who promised safety. Now he's the man demanding signatures. That switch hits differently when you've grown up watching this family. So I want to ask you, if you were in Aurora or Brianna's shoes, what would you have done? Would you have signed the papers? Or would you have stood your ground, even if it meant losing a parent in the process? Let's talk about it in the comments because this space, we built it to talk about the real stuff. And trust me, there's so much more coming. From the quiet rebellions to the not so quiet exits, The next few episodes are going to shake things up even more. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to Sister Wives Secrets. I'm Olivia, and I'm here with you every step of the way as we keep unpacking the truth behind the drama. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and stay unapologetically you.